I'm going to do the best I can today in the story of the MAASIOT base of the Melech and the king and the emperor, dealing with the emperor's daughter. Try to finish it today. See how far I can get along. You know that it's very interesting. I am a Talmud of Rev Yosef Chaim Memran, and it's been a tremendous, unbelievable pleasure to have met him and to have doors open to things that I didn't know about. I'm from the Midwest, so what can you say? There's not much new out there. But over here, it's just been fantastic. And today, he actually gave me a shiur that he's been preparing in his yeshiva. He said some certain aspects of it, and he may say some more tomorrow. But the interesting thing about that, in regards to our story, is that it really basically tells the story of Hanukkah also parallels the story as well. Now, when you read Arya Kaplan's translation of these stories, and he has notes, and it could be that in one of the notes he mentions this, what the connection is between that. This story has a connection to Hanukkah. Now, last week, or the last time I said this year, I said that it also is the secret of the Yerida of the Areach. It's matos, what they call the limitation of this making small of the moon, which occurred on the fourth day of creation. These are both two stories about the same thing. Now, this time of year is a time when the days are getting darker and darker. So if you, let's say astrologically, they are ruled by, at least it's going to be, the planet which is called Saturn. Saturn is the cold planet. It's the ice planet. Saturn is the place where the buck stops. So it's a time of darkness. And here is coming light coming into the darkness. If you have a chance, I broadcast Rebbe Memran's shiur. Remember, it's being said over to me in a personal lesson. I am a contributor to Rabbi Memran because I think that you have to understand there's a lot of outsides. There's a lot of people who say a lot of things, and we can only digest so much. But I've been working on this for years, and I found someone who knows how to open up doors to the most inside relationships with God that I can get to at this point in my life. As a result of that, I want to share this with other people as much as possible. This story also tells the story of Hanukkah, which is the story of what we call the Nuktazah, the Shechina, Malchus, her ability to be able to go into darkened worlds and to illuminate them, just like you say, under the influence of, metaphorically, the planet Saturn, the ice dark planet, and to go and light that area up. And not only that, but to pull out of those areas elements of Kedusha that are trapped in darkness. And that's what the story of Hanukkah is about, and that's what our story is about. So, which is also the story of the Hismatus of the Yereach. It's the limitation of the moon, why the moon is like it is. So now the story goes on, and I'm going to try different techniques. I'll try techniques. I really want to move through the story and try to get it done, but it takes time, and so I'll do the best I can. I'm going to read the top part of which is actually the Hebrew part of the story. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try that and see if we could get through then just the Pirush of Rav Schick and see if we could get an idea of what he says is going on. Now, as I said last week, or what I wanted to say was, the first story really dealt with you finding your own neshama. Because, again, to parallel it to Rabbi Memran's book, is that we always have this talking going on inside of our head, and we begin to start thinking that's us. A lot of this talking can be very, very destructive. He calls it this left side talking. The right side of the brain, which is the creative side of the brain, is the side that allows us to actually get outside of our bodies, so to speak. That part has to be developed. That's what we're trying to do here, is to find ways to bring light and connect ourselves to it. So let's see the story, and let's see all we can do here. So it goes like this. When the people of the city saw that the entourage from the palace was coming, Samchu ma'od, they became very happy. Ki zezman ran shahalach ben Melech, because it was a long time. The Ben Melech went out to have his orgies out on the boat, didn't come back. V'lo yadu heichanu, they didn't know where he was. V'amelech hazakein, so the original king, Gavar Meis, he was dead. B'terem biyasav. So therefore the people, the common people, had no leader. Achar kach ro shaben Melech shuhu Melech shalachem enenu. So then they saw that the king, the prince, became the king. He's not around either. So where is our king? The SIPUREI called him MAASIOT. So then the nobleman told him the whole story. How he's dead. So now they have this new king, this king which is in the disguise, looks like a king or looks like a man. It's actually what? Actually the emperor's daughter. Possibly mean that this is the Shina. The Samchum Ma'od al Sheba Lahem Melech Hadash. So they're really happy about this. Now let's see if I could just read the light print on page Pei. If you have this book, if you don't have this book and you'd like to get this book, just WhatsApp me back and I'll find a way to get it to you. He says, Ki be'emez be'ez ha'geula. So he says like this, at the time when the redemption is going to come, Az yizgala or chadash, there will be a new light that will be revealed. Shekulam yismachu betachlis asimcha, everybody will be ultimately very, very happy, just in happiness itself. Like the pastor said, then will be filled, our mouths will be filled with joy, with laughter, and our tongues with dancing. Then the goyim will all say, elevate Hashem, to be able to do with them. So glorify Hashem, build him up, raise up Hashem, to do with us, that we are really going very, very happy, ultimately happy with this new light. Pirush Rabbeinu Zal says in Likutei Moharan on this, all the goyim, they're also going to come. They're all going to be acknowledged. That all the greatness that they think they have, it's only for us. That we, excuse my voice, that we have gone through so much. If you look at the history of the Jews in the medieval time, from the expulsion of Spain and all the things that we went through, the massacres that took place in the Rhineland and all throughout Germany and in other places, over and over again, ending up with this unbelievable massacre that we just have survived. But through all of this, we still keep the Torah. Even though there were situations which are, you realize the way people were living, the way the Jews had to live in Europe amongst these terrible peoples and these tribes and these battles were constantly going back and forth, how shaky this situation was. This is only going to be at the ultimate time of the Geula. That the Mashiach is the ultimate inside of insides. This is the problem that has been through the generations. There were people came along. It wasn't the time of the Geula, and they claimed that they were the Mashiach. That they really fooled people. And that is the case, and that was the case. Because those joys, those low-level joys that they had when they saw that this was coming, and they really thought that the real true king had come back to us, because look, times have been bad, really bad. Look at the matzah of the Jewish people now. That we're still able to grow, we're still able to spread these. He's a man who wrote a book in English on Tvekas with Hashem. It really gives a guide to it, tells you how to do it. Because there were always liars, different kinds of fakes that came along and they claimed that they were our leader. So they went, they spread out, these lying Mashiachos, Shehitu Zabrios, they fooled everybody. Until that you reveal that there is actually the emperor's daughter is really underneath the whole thing. Shuhu HaDoktor HaRofe Nefashos. Who is that? This is the doctor that heals souls. Shezera Betzadik Emes. Who is that? It's Rabbeinu Kodesh, he says. It's a Tzadik Emes. Sheyachol Arafos is called Eidach HaYordim V'Chanefulim. They're able to heal all of those who have fallen, all of those who are broken. And bring into them real, true hope, that they shouldn't give up hope. And find a way to cling to Ein Sof Baruch Hu. And reveal on them, to them, the real kingdom, the spiritual kingdom of Hashem Yisbarach. Then it goes on. Here's a little bit more on the top part. From Melech Siva Lahachriz B'Kol Medina. So the Melech, who is actually this doctor, right? Something tremendous light of Panemius, but that has covered itself over in a way that is totally misleading in a world which is full of lies. Siva Lahachriz B'Kol Medina. So he made a commandment. This is the new king, who is the doctor, as I said. He said they make an announcement in every country, should call me, should nimsa b'kol makom shuhus, that anybody should find himself in whatever place, ger or oreach uvoreach umagorish. So anybody who had been run away, somebody who was sent away, anybody who's not Jewish, or anybody who's just visiting, shekulim yavru lachasuna shalom, that they all should come to his wedding. Ish mechem lo yihi ne'edar. Nobody will be left out. V'yakabluchu b'tanas gedolos, and everybody have great gifts when they come. But Siva, that is this doctor, who is actually the daughter of the emperor. She asks saviv kol ha'ir minos, that you build wells around every city. Kadesh echad yirtza d'shtais, so that when somebody is thirsty and they want to drink, lo yitztarach leilek for the shtais, that when they want to get something to drink, they're going to have to go a rock called Echad Yimsach Mayim Etzlo. So everybody gets to have some kind of a well. So let me see. I can read a little bit more on this, but I know that we've heard it in English already. And so I'm going to say it in English a little bit. And let's see if I get to a point where I could stop. And then I could read what Rav Schick has to say. And as he interprets the Panemius of the Rebbe. So he put by every well, and they should put guards by every well, and they should put her picture by each well. And if you saw someone come to the well and they were staring at it, these guards would look and see if they saw someone who wasn't just drinking, but really got fixated by looking at this picture. Those people, they should grab them, and they should put them in detention till a further date. So Rav Schick writes on this, where he says that the doctor, he says, so he says that the Melech that we were talking about, which is the Bas Kesar, the daughter of the emperor, she is really coming in, and she's incorporated, she's going along with all of these people in order to be able to build the actual world that will be the receptacle for the light of Hashem. And she will fulfill this pasuk, which is in Yirmiyah, Ad Masai, Tishamkim Habas Shoveva, Ki Barach Havaya Chadash Be'aretz, the Kevit to Sovev Gaver. Rav Schick has a little bit different interpretation on this, but let's see. She says, how long will you let slip away the wayward daughter? Because Hashem Havaya has built, there is something new in the world. The Kevit to Sovev Gaver. And he says, and this is Rav Schick has its take on this, because now we're going to have a situation where the man is not going to be controlled anymore. It's going to be the female that's going to be in control. And this is a famous phrase from the Riyah Kodesh, where he says, Isha tosevet gever. So we know that the basic idea of femininity is house. The house is the ultimate place where everything comes. Home. The home is also the place where children are raised and created. So this is really where we see that metaphor going. It's something new now. So he said, let me find Rav Schick again, Ki kach yihye be'ezek ha'ula, because this is the way it's going to be when the redemption comes. She yiskabsu kol ha'yordim v'chol ha'fulim v'nishlochim, all the people who have been beaten, all the people who are fallen, all the people who are down and have a broken heart. V'hamru chachim b'meni yisbarach, those people who are far from looking at God. They don't want to think about it. Like it said, so in that day, there will be a blow that is going to come out of the great horn, the great shofar. And then they're going to come, those people who are lost in the land of Assyria. And those people who are pushed and beaten down in the land of Egypt. And they're going to bow down to Hashem in the holy mountain. Yushalayim. So then he says, She'elohim habati kinesios. He says, so what are we talking about? The holy mountain and all these different places they're going. These are these synagogues that we have. Ubati bendrashos, the places of learning Torah. She'amru chachmenu gedoshim, the rabbi said al pasuk, ve'hei lochem the mikdash ma'at, and it will be for them, that is, he's talking about a base of Knesset, a shul. It'll become a little bit like a base of Mikdash. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, so Rabbi Yitzchak says like this, Elu bati Kinesios, bati Midrashos, Sheba Bavel, these are talking about the places of learning, places of praying in Bavel, which is a faraway place. Shesham Iskabsim Klal Nishmavs Yisrael, because those are the places that the souls of the Jewish people gathered. Mispalam Alav Yisbarach, they pray to Hashem. Ad Sheyabana Beis HaMikdash, until the time when we have a Beis HaMikdash, will be the Panemius of the Panemius, the inside of inside, closeness of closenesses. So then he talks about putting up the image, his own image there, by every well. Haile B'kol Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMidrash, Sham Shor Shechina, these are the places when we go to pray, we go to learn, the Shechina comes along with us. Ki kol Eloch HaYordim v'Nefulim u'B'Shlochim v'Rechokim, because all those broken people, Lachem Nafsham Davar v'Al Godel Atzar v'Chem Ribas, and their souls are really pushed down because of all we've been through. A massacre, begums, the lifestyle, the difficulty, the hunger. So this terrible galus we've been in. Now what does God wants? He wants to grab them. And bring them back to Kedusha. Because in the midst of all the tsar, it's also Kedusha, it's there too, it's with us. And bring them back to what he took from them. That means from us. So he says, like, the children of the people who have been in Galus and beaten back so badly. He goes on, people who are thrown away. People who are driven away, or far away. Even so, amongst he wants this idea. He says, if you look out and you see that all the big people, what are they doing? The big people, the big money people, the big Rabbanim, and so on and so forth. But the Shekhinah, the easiest access to the Shekhinah is in the broken people. Shehu Goel Tzedek, because this is where the Shekhinah comes to. Shekhinah comes, the Rebbes want to teach us the path. So the Shekhinah is coming to those people. Shehu Goel Tzedek Shelo Hikiro. So this is the person who was not recognized. You don't recognize it. When will the Mashiach come? So they'll go ask him yourself. So they say, where is he? A Pischa de Romi. He's going to be at the gates of Rome. What does Rome mean? Rome means he's a beggar outside the gates of the great. He's nobody. Well, my Simone, how will we know him? Yosef ben Ani Sovle Choloyim. He's going to be sitting amongst the poor, the people who are sick, people who are downtrodden and beaten. There's lots of ways. Nobody gets out of this world free. So let me just see where I'm at in the story. In the story, that we have three people who come to the wells, see the picture, and are transfixed by the picture. And those people, they are put in prison. So he says, V'kol echad me'elach hashlosha hikir shezed tzarasa. So all of these people, these three people, who are they? They are the original, her husband, the man who she doesn't marry. And there are the merchant's son, and then the king. Pirates are dead. So they saw her. They can be very, very upset when they saw the picture. And let's go back now to the end of the story. They were grabbed and put in jail. So now the wedding is coming. Now who we have on the one side is the queen of the debaucher king. And she's supposed to marry who? The Shechina. So the Rizal is always saying, so there's always opposites. If you could have something which is absolutely unbelievably light and all the joy of the world, then you have a false image of it too. So this also exists. So it was the idea the two would be together, and then what would happen is that the bad would absorb the good. That's what the bad wants. Absorb the good and have both of them going to the great power of this light going to the wrong way. Of course, we're dealing with truth here. So truth understands what lies are. As the Rabbeinu Kodesh says, there's only one truth. You have lots and lots of different lies, but the truth is only one. So he says, so the king commanded, should they bring these three captives before him? So they bring the three to them. And he recognizes them. And he says they didn't recognize him because him is really she. So they didn't recognize it because it was dressed like a man. So the Bas Kesar now says to them, and she says, you were the king, that is the Melech that was removed from his throne because the daughters, these 11 daughters, these 11 princesses were taken out. And now, so you were removed, you had to abdicate your throne because of the 11 princesses that you lost. So she gives them back the B'nai Sarim. So go back to your place, the place where you ruled before. So he had said earlier that the 11, they represented the 11 Simanim of the Keteras. And the 11 Simonic Keteras, now we see what their function is. The function is something so sweet, it's so delicious, that it's able to go into the places of real darkness. Again, the Saturnian world. And the winter world, in other ways, the time of darkness. And be able to illuminate and sweeten it up so much that it will attract Kedusha to itself and be able to bring it up. That's a concept of the Keteras in Sod. So now, he says, go take your girls, go back to where you came from and rule. What's he doing? He's redeeming this Kedusha that was actually fallen. This is that we get on the wrong paths, and even though there's tremendous Kedusha amongst us, we stay on those paths and we destroy and become destroyed. And over here now, take your 11, you sweet spices, which are going to sweeten you up and bring you up to the world where you belong. After Sochet, so they went to the merchant's son. And he says, Hainu im ben Sochet now. He says, you were sent away. Your father sent you away because you lost your boat. So then she says, here's your boat. And now, it's got all kinds of things. It's got all the pirates loot. It's got just so much from so many different places. Keep it. So since there's been a switch in money, there's so much different, more money here. Now you're going to see that you have a tremendous, tremendous amount of money here. This is all for you. This is what she says, what he's supposed to get. Another case of a precious soul that was lost and really doing all the wrong things. Going after it, and you can see it, I can see it in my life, how you have choices. And even though there's Kedusha there, but you go down the way of trying to keep yourself alive and build yourself up, and then you get involved in the ideas of the other side, and now she is bringing him back. And since Rav Schick is going to say that he suffered so much along the way, so now this is his reward. And then the last line is really great. Vatan ben Melech, you are my betrothed. Haino Chazan Shaloba Emes, this is her true husband, which is she's Shchina, this is called Zeranpin. And she's doing all the work, notice. Nelcha v'nisa, let's go on our way. V'shavu l'beisam, and they went back to their place, which is what we call in Kabbalah is yichud, oneness. Baruch Hashem la'olam amen, the amen is what the Rebbe says. Let me see if I can find it. You feel a little lost as I start talking. And so let's go to Rav Schick and let's see what he says over here. He says, Ki efshar lehizkar v'latzadik ha'emes v'lagadusha. It's impossible because he's writing on this place where now that they grab these people, and these people who were able really to get really see what this Kedusha was. So he says it's impossible to really come close to the Kedusha. And so therefore, she put her picture by the well, and they were there entrapped, and they went to prison. Ela ayidei leiv nishbar, that the only way that a person could really approach the real Kedusha is by broken heart. Shemuchrach la'avar of the love eze mashber, because somebody has to have some kind of wave that knocks them down. Shezer machnis oisach b'shiflos v'ronova, this brings him into tremendous lowness, great humility. He doesn't mean that you have to lose all your money. He doesn't mean that you have to have cancer. But he knows that every single, those are, I'll say, like very severe endings. But all through everybody's life, with those things and other things are trials. And we have to go through those trials. We'll live through those trials. We have to live through them with hope. So only when we live through those trials, though, because the trials themselves are the part that actually bring us to Kedusha. It's a funny thing. And this is the only way that you can find the image of the tzaddik. You want to find the voice of the tzaddik. What the tzaddik do? The tzaddik leads you to Kedusha. Rabbeinu Zal writes in L'Kutei Moharan, the main thing that you learn from a real true tzaddik is humility, lowness. There's nobody lower than you. Get to that place, maybe momentary, maybe permanent. So let's look at the so he says, Ki niskayim nekeva tesovev gever. Now he talks about this one, he's fulfilling the concept which the Rabbeinu HaKodesh, that is the Rav, the Riha Kodesh, he uses this phrase a lot. He says, what does it mean when the female surrounds the male? This is the concept, once again, of the holy home. The concept of bringing a base Knesset, a place where Shekhinah can live. She surrounds him, and that her greatness, because she is the one that's doing, so I said, I don't mean to make it small, that everybody works, but the accomplishment in Kedusha has to come from the son of the Lord. And so now she gives back to everyone those things that they always wanted, what they wanted, but they had to be broken in order to see that it's God behind everything. So let's go over here a little bit more. We're getting closer to the end. See, he says, so he gave back the boat. He says, Ki hasfida ba'atzma im kol ha'scherish shel ben al-socher she barcha ima ganal. So the boat, with all the tremendous amount of merchandise, Adayin ha etzla b'shleimus, he kept it in perfect condition. So then all of the tremendous money that he got from the thieves. So here we have Rav Shickel. Shoya Shiras Muflag Ma'od. There's a tremendous, huge amount of money. Yosef B'Shvila. So he who suffered the most for her. Kibel Chazara Kefel Keflayim. So she's gotten back from that double. He calls Zerah B'Ramez al Elu Sharatza Lahasig as a Shechina, because this whole thing is really talking about those people who want to try to reach the Shechina. How do you do it? His Yago b'Yigius v'Trachos Gedolos ad Ma'od. In their own way, they struggle, they work, they suffer. They find times that they have to be able to learn. They go through their business, which has ups and downs. They go through their marriage life, which has ups and downs. But they keep going and trying to find the thread that ties the whole thing. Sabla Chirufim v'Gedufim, and they're made fun of, and they find they are lowered. Ad Ma'od ad Shegersho some, until ultimately they get thrown out. In the end, they get a double, quadruple, an unbelievable geometric amount of schar for this. Hatana, like it's a quote from the Pirkei Avos, the Pum Tsara Agra. So the Pum really means in the mouth of pain is your reward, because on the other side of that is the momentum that's making it happen. V'ata ben HaMelech, that is that now you, who are the son of the king, this is the end of the story. Shazech ha'goel tzedek amiti, so he's talking about the real goel, person who's really going to bring this about. Nelcha v'nasa v'shav the beisam, and they went back. So the two of them, in a combination of her goel, Mashiach Tzidkenu, come and bring us complete and total Kabbalah. Amen.